Good evening, everybody. It is Steve Lookner with Agenda Free TV. There are now less than 28 hours until the Trump tariffs go into effect, unless there's some kind of deal. We'll have to see. Trump has said tonight that he's talking to Mexico and to Canada tomorrow, so we'll see what happens. Will there be a deal? We'll see. But if no deal, less than 28 hours until the Trump tariffs go into effect on China, Mexico, and Canada. So we want to give you an update to on that and some other stories out of the Trump administration that are happening today. So we're going to do that, and we're going to take comments and questions on the air. And tomorrow night, if there is no deal, and it's looking like there's going to be tariffs, we will do countdown coverage tomorrow night if there's no deal. Thanks, by the way, to our moderators. Art Vers says, dude, it's been only like the first 2 weeks. It's been busy. Thank you, Ruth Krafasi and Janet B. are moderating. Beth Mythical. Appreciate it. Linda Belk and Larry and Misha on X, thank you. Also, our moderators on Twitch, A Moment of Lovely, Good Luck Duck, Hearsay, Idaho Star, Papa Bear, and Surly Dev. Thank you. Also, thanks Notorious Rob for your support on Twitch. And thanks also to our Facebook moderators. Kay Lowry Body is over there moderating. Thank you, Kay. I appreciate it. And thanks to Martha Crawford and Sharon Klassen Gosselin and Kay for subscribing over there on Facebook. And also our Irene Sebastian Arroyo. Thank you. Let's talk about tariffs. Let's talk about tariffs, guys. See there, U.S. businesses brace for Trump's tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China to drive up costs. That's from AP. So these tariffs go into effect at 12:01 a.m. on Tuesday. So basically tomorrow night. And 25% on all goods from Mexico, 25% on everything except energy from Canada, 10% on Canadian energy, and 10% on top of existing tariffs for all goods from China. Seven-faced Thin Sin thinks 10% is not enough for China. That's what our viewer says. We have not heard Trump raise tariffs yet raise the proposed tariffs in response to Canada and Mexico, saying they are going to retaliate with tariffs. We haven't seen that yet. So we'll be taking some comments about this. Axlinger says, brace yourself, peeps. Cody O thinks it's great news. Ivan DeGreat says, art of the deal. Werner Heisen says stock futures are down about 2%. According to CNN page, Dow futures are down 1.26%. NASDAQ down, futures down 2.26%. I noticed Bitcoin has been dropping since yesterday. Well, I don't know since how long, but recently. Here, look. Bitcoin slides below $100,000 as tariffs rattle markets. Let's look at that for a second. Hold on. Give me one moment here. Is this going to work? Yes. Reuters says cryptocurrency prices slid as the specter of global trade war put investors on edge and pushed them out of risky assets. Bitcoin was down more than 4% early on Monday morning in Asia, touching a 3-week low around $96,600. Smaller cryptocurrency was down around 12% and back to levels last seen in early November. The article says investors think tariffs can hurt growth and company earnings. One expert said crypto is really the only way to express risk over the weekend. It trades 24 hours a day. And on news like this, crypto resorts to a risk proxy. It's interesting also, the article says, at the same time, there's added downward pressure on crypto after a strong rally in the wake of Trump's election, as some investors have felt disappointed at the lack of immediate moves to boost crypto or loosen regulations since he took office. It's only been like 2 weeks. Anyways, so 27 hours, 52 minutes. Thank you, by the way, to PZ Papa Zulu for the gift memberships. Thank you to Low Key Valkyrie for being a member. Thank you, Dewey1851. Dewey says, doesn't leveling tariffs make us money, but by Canada levying tariffs, doesn't that profit go right back to them? So just to be clear, when U.S. levels a tariff, I believe when any country levels a tariff, it is paid by the importers. So when the U.S. puts tariffs on Canada, for example, then anyone in the U.S. who brings stuff in from Canada has to pay it. So the entities in America will pay the U.S. government. That's who pays it. Now you might have the original company making the stuff, raise or lower the prices or whatever, or the company selling it raise or lower the prices, but the tariff is paid by the importer. Now, REG says that cost is passed on the consumer. It just depends on whether the people selling it decide whether to raise the prices, whether the people who originally produce it decide to whether to raise or lower the prices. That's the way it works. Give me a moment here. Maybe I can show you something on this to clarify. But it is the importers who pay the tariffs. Hang on, why can I not see that? Why can I not see that? Here. For example, there's a New York Times article that came out today. It says, who pays for tariffs? And it says it is the so-called importer of record, the companies responsible for importing the product, that physically pays the tariff to the federal government. Google AI says the importer of record pays tariffs, which are taxes on imported goods. Quick thanks also to J.K. Senar and Captain Jerry Donnelly, our members. Alex Kruglov, thanks for your support. Lee Brock Productions for the gift membership. A-Dubs. We'll talk about Panama a little later. We will. We just started, A-Dubs. We just started here. Thank you, A-Dubs. Also, Crazy Yoda. Crazy Yoda thinks Canada and Mexico will make a deal because they need U.S. trade more than we need them. At that time, the deal, I'll donate memberships. That's what Crazy Yoda thinks. Look, as I've said repeatedly, some people think it's a big negotiation ploy by Trump and that he will just announce a deal on Monday night. We'll just have to see. I don't know. I do not know. Let's talk a little bit about this. So you can see here, this is from AP. Just read a little of this. From an ice cream parlor in California to a medical supply business in North Carolina to a t-shirt vendor outside Detroit, U.S. businesses are bracing to take a hit from the taxes President Trump imposed on imports from Canada, Mexico, and China, America's three biggest trading partners. The levies of 25% on Canadian and Mexican goods and 10% on Chinese goods, and it's 10% on Canadian energy, will take effect on Tuesday at 12:01 a.m. Mexico's president has ordered retaliatory tariffs. We're not sure what those are. And Canada's prime minister said the country would put matching 25% tariffs on up to $155 billion in U.S. imports. China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said China firmly opposes the move and will take necessary countermeasures to defend its legitimate rights and interests. Also, the Ministry of Commerce in China said it would file a lawsuit with the World Trade Organization for the wrongful practices of the U.S. We don't know if China is going to impose new tariffs. AP says the budget lab at Yale University estimates Trump's tariffs would cost the average American household $1,000 to $1,200 in annual purchasing power. This economist AP talked to estimates the tariffs would increase inflation by 0.4 percentage points this year. And also, this economist projects that U.S. economy would fall by 1.5% this year and 2.1% in 2026 as higher import costs dampen consumer spending and business investment. Hey, look, the Penny Ice Creamery in Santa Cruz, California, has had to hike prices of its ice cream, including, this is not right now, including popular flavors in recent years as an inflationary surge increased the cost of its supplies. So, and they say they may have to raise them more. They haven't yet. They may have to raise them more. The co-owners said, we were looking forward to inflation coming down, the economy stabilizing. Now with the tariffs, we may be back at it again. So that ice cream store may have to raise supply. This ice cream store says that the tariffs could drive up the cost of the mostly made in China refrigerators, freezers, and blenders he will need if the ice creamery goes ahead with its plans to add to its 6 shops. Also, the new tariffs will raise the price of a customer favorite at the ice cream store, sprinkles. The sprinkles they buy come from a company in Whitby, Ontario. Tacking a 25% import tax on even something as small as that can damage a small business like his. He said the margins are so slim. Being able to offer that add-on can maybe generate an additional 10 cents in profit per scoop. If the tariff wipes that out, that can really be the difference between being profitable and being break-even and even being underwater by the end of the year. That's just one example of a business. I like hearing the concrete examples. Let's read about one more concrete example, and then I'll take some comments. In Asheville, North Carolina, Casey Heights, CEO of Aeroflow Health, expects to take a hit because his company gets more than half its supplies, including breast pumps, from Chinese manufacturers, providing them to American patients through insurance plans. Aeroflow Health gets paid by insurers at pre-negotiated rates put in place before Trump decided on his tariffs. He said the tax on Chinese imports would hit the company's finances, forcing it to purchase either to purchase cheaper and lower quality products or pass higher costs along via health insurance premiums. He said it will impact the patients. In time, patients pay more for the products. Oh, and look at this. It looks like it's a medical equipment company. Is that what they are there? It's a medical supply business. Even the made in the USA absorbent incontinence pads that Aeroflow Health buys are not safe from Trump's import taxes. Those pads may include pulp from tariff target Canada and plastics and packaging from China, according to Aeroflow Health. And look, a t-shirt shop. Is this going to affect our business? You bet it is, said the owner of Skinny Tees, a women's apparel company in Michigan. She said the 10% tax would increase her costs, though she plans to absorb the extra expense herself instead of passing it along to consumers. She said, I don't like what's going on about the tariffs. And I think people are going to be truly shocked at the pricing they're going to see on the cars, on the lumber, on the clothes, on the food. This is going to be a mess. So those are three businesses that AP talked to who said they are going to be hurt by these tariffs. A t-shirt shop, an ice cream shop, and a medical supply company. That's just as an example. All right, I want to take some comments from you guys. Greeners is wondering if the incontinence pad company will absorb the costs. They said it wasn't clear. The article said that the health supplies company might either have to buy lower quality, cheaper equipment or increase the prices, basically. One of our viewers said, you haven't talked about the positive effect of tariffs. Well, what Trump has said is he wants the tariffs on these tariffs to stop, to have these countries the tariffs are on, help stop fentanyl from coming into the U.S. and also help stop illegal migrants, illegal immigration coming into the U.S. You can see the title of the different executive orders. So the executive order on Canada imposing duties to address the flow of illicit drugs across our northern border. By the way, around 1% of the fentanyl and around 1% of the illegal immigration in the U.S. that comes from Canada. This is northern border. Yeah, you can see it says northern border. But he says, I find the sustained influx of illicit opioids and other drugs has profound consequences in our nation. Canada has played a central role in these challenges. He also talks about illegal migration across our northern border. So that's his goal for these. That's the goal for the Canada tariff. And then there's also other. Are they all not posted here? But it's similar for the Mexico tariff. Here, look, see? fact sheet. This is from the White House. Trump imposes tariffs on imports from Canada, Mexico, and China. And it says, President Trump is taking bold action to hold Mexico, Canada, and China accountable to their promises of halting illegal immigration and stopping poisonous fentanyl and other drugs from flowing into our country. So that's what he wants to come out of this. That's the main thing they say that he wants to come out of this. I mean, this is literally the document from the White House. Let's see here. Thank you, by the way, to Base 888, Neil Johnson. Can I please cite my source on the 1%? There's so many sources. Do I really need to do this? Do I really need to do this? If I can find it in 2 seconds, I will, but this has been widely reported. If I can quickly and not delay the whole broadcast to do it, I will. But it's not like one source. Here, look, this is from the Canadian government, Government of Canada. Less than 1% of the fentanyl and illegal crossings into the United States come from Canada. I would encourage you next time, rather than asking me to do it, Google it yourself. And as you see, it really didn't take that long to find. So this was not a controversial claim. I did it just to do it. But you really can find this yourself. It's not hard. And I probably could have found it faster if I searched better or something. Thank you, Robert McCandless. Robert says, I'm willing to pay more than to save 100,000 lives in the U.S. Aren't you? That's what Robert says. Thanks, Sonova, our member. Thanks, Base 888. Thanks again, Neil Johnson. Thanks, Captain Jerry Donnelly. Thanks, Miranda Stevens and Grevin Scher. Turned Off. And Paul Trewin from Canada. Paul from Canada says that Canada has already focused more resources on the border. In spite of this, when asked what Canada can do to avoid tariffs, Trump replied, absolutely nothing. A very weird response. That's Paul from Canada. Let me read some more comments here. Coco thinks this is a cowardly orchestrated act of war. Jed High says prices have been going up the last few years, so this will just feel normal. Scorpion thinks Trump is speedrunning how to end an empire by destroying the U.S. Kellen thinks Mexico is a better ally than Canada. Naomi Nocturnal thinks it was never about the border. Redefine Happiness thinks it's about Trump flexing. A number of our viewers are saying, no, it will not feel normal. NY Committee says the prices going up don't feel right at all. That's why so many people voted for Trump. Lizzie says, no, we voted to make America great again. Hang on a moment. I got to keep checking the updates to make sure I don't have any new breaking news right now. So give me 1 second. Give me one moment. We'll talk about USAID in a little bit. Matt Weiser reports that President Trump tonight, speaking to reporters, said USAID has been run by a bunch of radical lunatics and we're getting them out. And then we'll make a decision. We'll talk about that in a little bit. That's a whole other story. We're going to talk about tariffs a little more. Then we'll talk about USAID and DOGE. That's a whole other story. I do want to remind you, though, I'm going to keep saying this, that the tariffs have not taken effect yet. They take effect in 27 and a half hours, and there still could be a deal announced to avoid the tariffs. Rick Mack sent this to me. An Arizona member of Congress, who is a Democrat, Greg Stanton, posted, tonight I sent a letter co-signed by 42 of my colleagues to the president, calling on him to immediately rescind the tariffs on Mexico and Canada. He said these tariffs will hurt Americans already struggling with high prices and kill U.S. jobs. Kiwi NZ writes in and says, I don't think tariffs will ever stop fentanyl coming in. Smugglers have always found a way. Oh, by the way, in case you didn't see it, Trump posted about something about Canada earlier today. In case you didn't see it. Let me show you his Truth Social. Trump's Truth Social. Oh, I got to show you a couple things that he posted. Where is this post about Canada? I know it's here somewhere. Here is his post about Canada from this morning. This is from Trump. We pay hundreds of billions of dollars to subsidize Canada. Why? There is no reason. We don't need anything they have. We have unlimited energy, should make our own cars, and have more lumber than we can ever use. Without this massive subsidy, Canada ceases to exist as a viable country. Harsh but true. Therefore, Canada should become our cherished 51st state. Much lower taxes and far better military protection for the people of Canada and no tariffs. That was his post from 8/26. Thank you, by the way, to Holstrand. Thank you also, Turned Off, who says, Buy American won't insulate you from global supply chains. Meaning, I think Turned Off is pointing out that American companies that manufacture stuff, a number of them will use like parts from other countries. And, materials they use to make the goods. Thank you, Telomere, our new member. Thank you, Kinjiru731. And Grevin Chair. Grevin says Canada will be the no Puerto Rico. Quick thanks to Wild Daisy for subscribing on Twitch, Shaggy for subscribing on Twitch, and Who Shot JR and Notorious Rob for your support on Twitch. I wanted to mention something. I'm not going to read all of his posts from today. There was another post I wanted to mention. Oh, so the Wall Street Journal, which is not a pro-Democrat, they are not a left-leaning publication. Whenever I say this, some people try to say, no, they're left-leaning. No, the Wall Street Journal is not a left-leaning publication. Okay? They had the Wall Street Journal opinion page had an editorial they posted about this that's been updated today. And literally, the Wall Street Journal editorial from the Wall Street Journal, from their editorial page, is called "The Dumbest Trade War Fallout Begins." I think the original article might have been called "The Dumbest Trade War." Now it's called "The Dumbest Trade War Fallout Begins." So they don't support you can read it at the Wall Street Journal site, but they don't support the tariffs, and they call it the dumbest trade war. So Trump posted this. So I'm saying that because I want you to understand Trump's post. So he posted this morning. He said, the tariff lobby headed by the globalist and always wrong Wall Street Journal. See? So that he's referring to the Wall Street Journal here. The tariff lobby, headed by the globalist and always wrong Wall Street Journal, is working hard to justify countries like Canada, Mexico, China, and too many others to name, continue to the decades-long ripoff of America, both with regard to trade, crime, and poisonous drugs that are allowed to so freely flow into America. Those days are over. The USA has major deficits with Canada, Mexico, and China, and almost all countries, owes $36 trillion, and we're not going to be the stupid country any longer. Make your product in the USA, and there are no tariffs. Why should the United States lose trillions of dollars in subsidizing other countries? And why should these other countries pay a small fraction of the cost what USA citizens pay for drugs and pharmaceuticals, as an example? This will be the golden age of America. Will there be some pain? Yes, maybe, and maybe not. Does that mean he thinks there might be a deal? Will there be some pain? Yes, maybe, and maybe not. But we will make America great again, and it will all be worth the price that must be paid. We are a country that is now being run with common sense, and the results will be spectacular. That was this morning. Oh, also about, remember I told you the Wall Street Journal has an article calling this the dumbest trade war ever. That's their Wall Street Journal editorial board. Trump talked about the Wall Street Journal tonight at 6:37, a couple hours ago. Here's a post from Trump from about 2 hours ago on his Truth Social. Here you go. Anybody that's against tariffs, including the fake news Wall Street Journal and hedge funds, is only against them because these people or entities are controlled by China or other foreign or domestic companies. Anybody that loves and believes in the United States of America is in favor of tariffs. They should have never ended in favor of the income tax system in 1913. The response to tariffs has been fantastic. That is from 2 years ago. That's from 2 hours ago. 2 hours ago, February 2nd, 2025, 2 hours ago, 6:37 p.m. That's 2 hours ago. So given that Trump is the one imposing this policy, I do like to share what he is posting with you about it. Anyways, we'll keep checking on. I'll see if he posts anything else about this about the tariffs during the broadcast. Let me read a few comments from you guys. A lot of comments. Sick of you, Crab says, love Trump. Waltham says, this is wild. Sharon Klassen Goslin says, I think this may work. Sam Patton thinks Trump is a nutcase. By the way, thank you to Calum Anderson from Canada. Beam me up. Thank you, Beam me up. Thank you also, Mermaid Fishing Co. I haven't heard about that, Mermaid Fishing Co. If I do, I'll say something about it. Thank you, Neil Johnson. Neil Johnson claims that CBP said 2.8% of fentanyl seizures were at the northern border. And not 1%? I haven't seen the document. Maybe they did. I'm not sure. I just showed you what the Canadian government said. Thank you, Neil. Neil said they seized enough to kill 3.75 million people. Thank you again to our moderators too. I really appreciate our mods being here. Let me just shout them out again real quick because they're awesome. Roberts May Queen, Janet B. Linda Belk and Larry, Misha on X, on Twitch. A Moment of Lovely, Big Ball of Yarn, Good Luck Duck, Hearsay, Idaho Star, Sarah, Papa Bear, and Surly Dev. Thanks again, Notorious Rob on Twitch. Thanks to K. Larry Body over there moderating on Facebook. Thanks Lou Green for subscribing, and Robert Rial II over there on Facebook too. Thanks to our member Erin McCune. We're going to talk more about tariffs. I want to talk about a couple different things on this stream, so we'll definitely talk more about tariffs. But I want to jump around and talk about a couple things. One IR viewer thinks it's looking to be a very scary summer in America. The flames in Rome are approaching their crescendo. You know what? I forgot how to say the word. I literally forgot. It's crescendo, isn't it? Yes, it's crescendo. For a moment, I forgot how to say the word crescendo. These things happen sometime. I forgot how to say it. I'm sorry. Now I remembered. For those who follow the NBA, really quick NBA news, basketball news. NBA journalist Chris Haynes reports that the Sacramento Kings are trading De'Aaron Fox to the Spurs in a deal that brings Zach LaVine to Sacramento along with 3 first-round picks. I'm just passing that along for the people who follow basketball. We're not going to really talk about that here. Okay, let's... I think we should talk about USAID and DOGE. That's a big story. We have a bunch of stuff I want to get to. Rackers says maybe a conversation on why he's putting these tariffs in place. Yeah, I think Rackers wrote me that before I explained. As the White House document says, Trump is putting these tariffs into place because he wants these countries to do more to stop fentanyl and other illegal drugs from flowing into the U.S. and to do more to stop illegal immigrants from coming into the U.S. Okay, we're going to talk about this USAID thing. This has been a big thing in DOGE. So DOGE is the Department of Government Efficiency. It's this new... I don't know if it's technically a department or an agency, or there's all these classification things that I don't know about, but it was created by Trump and it's led by Elon Musk and it's supposed to make government more efficient. You can see here DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency. Wikipedia says it's a temporary organization under the U.S. DOGE service, formerly known as the U.S. Digital Service. It is not a federal executive department, which would require an act of Congress. Its purpose is to reduce wasteful spending and eliminate unnecessary regulations. However, according to the executive order that established it, its formal purpose is to modernize federal technology and software to maximize governmental efficiency and productivity. Okay. Department of Government Efficiency. Yeah, this is not a Senate. Nobody in it has been Senate confirmed. So, it's this Elon Musk headed department which is focused on government efficiency. Now, so there's been a couple stories about DOGE in recent days, which we haven't talked about yet. We're going to talk more about tariffs. I want to, but we should talk about this. So here's one that came out. Was this today and yesterday? USAID security leaders on leave after trying to keep Musk's DOGE from classified info, officials say. We're going to read, and then here's another that's from AP. Here's another headline about DOGE recently. Elon Musk's DOGE Commission gains access to sensitive Treasury payment systems. Now, both of these stories are not just being reported by AP. They're being reported by many outlets reporting these stories, not just one, first of all. But I want to give you a basic idea of what these stories say. So let's start with the USAID one. USAID is, I know this is complex because we're bringing in all these new terms. USAID is this organization that has been in charge of the largest part of U.S. federal aid. I believe the majority of U.S. foreign aid, I believe the majority of foreign aid is distributed by this independent agency in the executive branch called USAID. However, apparently it looks like Trump is trying to, I don't know if you call it shut it down, but bring it completely under control of the Department of State. So to radically change it and eliminate it as independent, I guess you could say. The USAID website no longer works. So you now find USAID information on the Department of State website. So this is a whole thing that's going on, and it's controversial for a number of reasons, but there's a question about, some people say, well, he can't do that because it was created by an act of Congress, so you need an act of Congress to get rid of it. Anyways, but supposedly people from Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency showed up at USAID and tried to get sensitive material and classified info. And some people tried to keep them from getting it, and they've been put on leave. So let's look at a little of this. And again, these report. I'm going to read you this AP report, but this report, not literally the exact same article, but this report is being reported by a number of sources. The Trump administration has placed 2 top security chiefs for the U.S. Agency for International Development on leave after they refused to turn over classified material in restricted areas to Elon Musk's government inspection teams, a current and a former U.S. official told the Associated Press. Members of Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, known as DOGE, eventually did gain access Saturday to the aid agency's classified information, which includes intelligence reports, the former official said. Musk's DOGE crew lacked high enough security clearance to access that information, so the 2 USAID security officials, John Voorhees and Deputy Brian McGill, believe themselves legally obligated to deny access. Musk on Sunday responded to an X post about the news by saying, USAID is a criminal organization, time for it to die. He followed with multiple posts on X about the aid agency. Kate Miller, who serves on an advisory board for DOGE, said in a separate post that no classified material was accessed without property security clearances. The White House did not immediately respond to a request for comment, says AP. So again, the story is people from this Elon Musk-led Department of Government Efficiency showed up at USAID building or facility and asked to be given classified info in material in restricted areas, and a couple of security officials tried to keep them from getting it, and they have been placed on leave, and eventually AP says they did gain access to it. And look, this story comes a day after DOGE carried out a similar operation at the Treasury Department, gaining access to sensitive information, including the Social Security and Medicare customer payment systems. The Washington Post reported that a senior Treasury official had resigned over Musk's team accessing sensitive information. I'm going to read a little more of this because I think it's not fluff in this article. So I want to read a little more, then we'll take comments from you guys. AP said Musk formed DOGE in cooperation with the Trump administration with the stated goal of finding ways to fire federal workers, cut programs, and slash federal regulations. USAID, whose website vanished on Saturday without explanation, has been one of the federal agencies most targeted by the Trump administration in an escalating crackdown on the federal government and many of its programs. Trump said to reporters tonight, USAID has been run by a bunch of radical lunatics and we're getting them out. By the way, again, USAID, I believe, distributes the majority of U.S. foreign aid. Yes, look at here. This is from USAID from Wikipedia. USAID accounts for more than half of all U.S. foreign assistance. It's not some little organization that, doesn't do very much. It is an independent agency of the United States government that is primarily responsible for administrating civilian foreign aid and development assistance. Has a budget of over $50 billion. USAID's programs are authorized by Congress. So, is Trump basically trying to get rid of USAID? All right, hang on a moment. Give me a moment here. Where was I? A little more background here. The Trump administration and Secretary of State Marco Rubio have imposed an unprecedented freeze on foreign assistance that has shut down most of USAID's humanitarian development and security programs worldwide, compelling thousands of layoffs by aid organizations, and ordered furloughs and leaves that have gutted the agency's leadership and staff in Washington. The U.S. is by far the world's largest donor of humanitarian aid. USAID staffers say they believe that agency outsiders with visitors badges asking questions of employees inside the Washington headquarters are members of Musk's DOGE team. And let me see this here. Hold on. And here is a post, I believe, related to this. And the AP article mentions some of this quote in the article we were just reading. Yes, Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren said this afternoon, no one elected Elon Musk as Donald Trump allows Musk to access people's personal information and shut down government funding. Republicans in Washington will also own the consequences. She says we must do everything in our power to push back and protect people from harm. She is a Democrat, by the way. And also, I'm going to take some comments in 2 seconds. I just want to show you this. This is this report about, again, multiple outlets are reporting this stuff. Elon Musk's DOGE commission gains access to Treasury payment systems, AP sources. The Department of Government Efficiency, run by President Trump's billionaire advisor and Tesla CEO Elon Musk, has gained access to sensitive Treasury data, including Social Security and Medicare customer payment systems, according to two people familiar with the situation. The move by DOGE, a Trump administration task force assigned to find ways to fire federal workers, cut programs, and slash federal regulations, means it could have wide leeway to access important taxpayer data, among other things. The New York Times first reported the news of the group's access to the massive federal payment system. The highest-ranking Democrat on the Senate's Finance Committee, Ron Wyden, on Friday sent a letter to Trump's Treasury Secretary expressing concern that officials associated with Musk may have intended to access these payment systems to illegally withhold payments to a number of programs. The news comes after Treasury's acting Deputy Secretary David Lebrick resigned from his position at Treasury after more than 30 years of service. The Washington Post on Friday reported that Lebrick resigned his position after Musk and his DOGE organization requested access to sensitive Treasury data. Musk on Saturday responded to a post on his social media platform X about the departure of Lebrick, saying the DOGE team discovered, among other things, that payment approval officers at Treasury were instructed always to improve payments, even to known fraudulent or terrorist groups. They literally never denied a payment in their entire career, not even once. He did not provide proof of this claim. All right. So again, multiple outlets reporting that Elon Musk DOGE Commission has been given access to sensitive Treasury payment systems, and also that USAID security leaders on leave after trying to keep Musk's DOGE from classified info at the U.S. Agency for International Development. All right, I got to take some comments from you guys. So I don't like reading so much at once, but I wanted to make sure that people understood. We didn't even read. I mean, these stories have a lot more detail to them. I'm just trying to give you a basic overview in case you haven't heard about these reports. Oh, and by the way, Stephen Chung, who's a Trump spokesperson, posted White House Communications Director. Can I find it? I think he posted a denial. If I can, I thought he did. I saw it. Was it on? Maybe it was on Truth Social. I thought it was on X. Now I don't see it anymore. So, well, I really think I thought him post something, but now I can't find it. I thought he posted a denial of one or both of these reports. No, he did not post on Truth Social because it says no truths. So it would have been on his X account. Anyways, I can't find it right now. Okay, let's take some comments from you guys on this. So this, I think, is these stories you're going to start hearing about more. They've started to come out over the weekend. Where's the one from today? Where's the one from USAID? There you go. One of our viewers, Cecilia, says, how much classified info could USAID actually have? I don't know what they have there. I believe the Wall Street Journal also said that they had accessed classified info. Let's see here. Let me find it. Wall Street Journal has an article today, and the headline of the Wall Street Journal article is Musk moves with lightning speed to exert control over the government. The Wall Street Journal subheadline from today is the billionaire's representatives gained access to a Treasury Department payment system and sensitive documents at USAID. And the Wall Street Journal said the moves marked the start of a far-reaching campaign by Musk to upend the federal government agency by agency. And the Wall Street Journal said this effort has prompted outrage from Democrats and some Republicans who say he doesn't have the authority to overturn programs and spending priorities decided by Congress. And they expressed concerns that people in the operation have not been confirmed by the Senate, and some could benefit financially from DOGE's actions. That's the Wall Street Journal. Oh, but I was trying to tell you, I think they said that, yes, the Wall Street Journal says that the DOGE representatives who went to the USAID building in downtown Washington, D.C., eventually did get access to some classified information. The Wall Street Journal says it is unclear what they intend to do with the classified information, or whether those people who have it now have the security clearances you would need to legally see it. And they say that Stephen Chung, White House spokesperson, called the reports about the DOGE representatives getting access to secure spaces at USAID fake news. All right, I'm going to read some comments from you guys. Let me know your thoughts. John TC says, gained access, Trump gave them access. Wine Country Stackin says, Trump knows what he needs to do. He had 4 years to study everything. Thomas Wake says, where did Thomas Wake's comment go? Hold on, I was going to read Thomas Wake's comment. See if I can find it. It flew by. Hang on. Sometimes the comments fly by, and then I have to go back and find them. Thomas Wake says, I just love that we just allow some rich person who we didn't vote for to do whatever he wants. Orange Man Good says, I think in a year everyone will love Trump. Miss Annie says, it's got to be done. Frosty claims that the Musk allies who have been granted access to the payment system were made Treasury employees, passed government background checks, and obtained the necessary security clearances. I don't know if that's true. Maybe it is true. I do not know. Miles Snowin F says, I did not give Musk authorization to my personal records. OPM is not in his purview. Leroy Green says, it is one thing to help others, but when these programs are abused, they need checks and balances as well. Here, look, more USAID staff ousted after Trump administration dismantles aid agency. There's the building right there in the Reuters article. See? U.S. Agency for International Development. Reuters says the Trump administration removed 2 top security officials at the U.S. Agency for International Development during the weekend after they tried to stop representatives from billionaire Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency from gaining access to restricted parts of the building. The action added to the dozens of staff at USAID removed from their positions as Trump's team moves to abolish the agency's independence and possibly bring it under control of the State Department. Nearly 30 career staff in the agency's Legislative and Public Affairs Bureau lost access overnight to their emails, bringing the total number of senior USAID career staff who have been put on leave over the last week close to 100. A senior Senate Democratic aide said DOGE did access the building yesterday. USAID security officers tried to turn away DOGE personnel who did not have security clearances. They, security personnel, were threatened with action by the Federal Marshals Service, the aide said. Following the incident, the director of USAID Security and his deputy were removed from their positions and put on leave, sources said. The purge follows more than a week of mayhem inside USAID, Washington's primary agency funding billions of dollars worth of life-saving aid globally. Trump has ordered a freeze on almost all U.S. foreign aid, saying his administration will review spending to ensure money is distributed in line with his America First foreign policy. Reuters also reports members from the group DOGE were allowed to access several secure spaces, including the Office of Security and the agency's executive secretariat. There was no record of what information DOGE officials were able to obtain in those areas, but the offices they accessed included classified files and personal information about Americans who work at USAID. A DOGE spokesperson said on social media that no classified material was accessed without proper security clearances. Also, Matt Hobson, who was appointed as, I think, the USAID chief of staff by the Trump administration, has resigned. A congressional source said his resignation followed the incident with DOGE officials. A lot of stuff going on there. Yes, Matt Hobson was the chief of staff of USAID that was appointed by the Trump administration. Also, congressional Democrats said the changes appear to violate U.S. laws establishing USAID and funding it as a separate agency. And it says, meanwhile, Reuters says, meanwhile, billionaire Trump ally Musk continued to slam USAID in his posts and reposts on his X social network. Trump has assigned Musk to lead a federal cost-cutting panel with broad oversight powers. On Sunday, Musk accused USAID of being a criminal organization without providing any evidence and added time for it to die. Do they have something on the... I'm just... Again, we haven't reported on this. We haven't talked about it, so I just want to give you a sense of some of these reports that have been coming out over the weekend. This is the Reuters one. Musk's team given access to U.S. government payment system, New York Times says. Billionaire Elon Musk and his government efficiency team have been given access to the U.S. Treasury Department's payment system, resolving a days-long standoff, the New York Times reported Saturday. Musk has been tasked by President Trump to identify fraud and waste in the government and had sought access to the system Treasury uses to dole out federal funds. His efforts were resisted by a career Treasury official, David Lebrick, who was placed on leave this week and then retired. On Friday, the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, gave Musk's team access. The system sends out more than $6 trillion per year in payments on behalf of federal agencies and contains the personal information of millions of Americans who receive Social Security payments, tax refunds, and other monies from the government. Senator Ron Wyden, a Democrat, said, sources tell my office that Treasury Secretary Bessent has granted DOGE full access to this system, Social Security and Medicare benefits, grants, payments to government contractors, including those that compete directly with Musk-owned companies, all of it, he said. Wyden raised concerns that any politically motivated meddling in the payment system risks severe damage to our country and the economy. In a post on X on Saturday, Musk claimed without providing evidence that officials at the Treasury Department have been instructed to approve payments to known fraudulent or terrorist groups. So, I have a feeling you're going to be hearing more about these stories. Also, I'm not going to read this one yet. Here's another headline from Reuters from yesterday. Exclusive: Musk aides lock government workers out of computer systems at U.S. agency. This is the U.S. Government Human Resources Agency. It says aides, I'll read the first line of it first. Aides to Elon Musk charged with running the U.S. Aides to Elon Musk charged with running the U.S. Government Human Resources Agency have locked career civil servants out of computer systems that contain the personal data of millions of federal employees, according to two agency officials. Okay, we'll look at that article in a second. I want to take some comments from you guys. So again, his agency that Trump has created with him at the head of it is supposed to make the government more efficient. What was it? How did the article put it? And where is it here? There was a nice summary. Let's see here. DOGE was originally headed by Musk and former Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy, who jointly vowed to cut billions from the federal budget and usher in a mass headcount reductions across the federal bureaucracy. And also, AP says DOGE is a Trump administration task force assigned to find ways to fire federal workers, cut programs, and slash federal regulations. E-Oddity says the majority voted for this. One of our viewers said, check Bitcoin. Has it changed since I've been on the year? Bitcoin is at 90. Bitcoin is down now more. 93,000. Wow, Bitcoin has dropped quite a bit recently. Hang on a moment here. One of our viewers said it's zooming back up. I know it's volatile, so it can, can go back up and down quickly. Where is this here? Here is the Yahoo Finance chart for Bitcoin. It says 93,683. That is the one-day chart. But what is the 5-day chart according to Yahoo Finance? Yeah, so a couple days ago, you can see it was up in the over 100, 103, 104. And then the last couple days, it has dropped some. Now, it might go back up in 5 minutes. I don't know. It's volatile. But when we came on the air, it was 96 something. There was an article I showed you about this before that Reuters had about the Bitcoin stuff. It said, hold on a second. Hold on a moment. Hold on a moment and I'll show you. Bitcoin slides below $100,000 as tariffs rattle markets. That's what Reuters had reported. Cryptocurrency prices slid as the specter of a global trade war put investors on edge and pushed them out of risky assets. Anyways, I can't say exactly why everybody's buying and selling Bitcoin. Maybe there's other reasons people are buying and selling it. I can't say, but I'm just giving you an update here. Yes, I'm aware that there's a protest in Los Angeles. I have posted about it on my X account. We don't cover every protest. I don't have live footage of the protest that I have the rights to that I can show you. It's a protest over ICE activity. People have been on the freeway today, I know, in LA. But yeah, I don't have any live footage I can start showing you of it. I mean, you can probably find some online. Hang on. I have a couple pictures from the protest. I'll show you that. From this article, Mexico vows retaliation to Trump tariffs without detailing targets. They have a couple pictures of the protests. So I'll show you these. Ready? Here are the pictures. Oops. From the Reuters article. Here, there's one. See people on the freeway, near cars. The sign says immigrants built this country. Then there's another one they have, which is, no, we already showed you that one. Here's another one from Reuters. There's another one. There are people on the freeway in LA. The caption for one of them was, "People walk along U.S. Route 101 during a protest against arrests and deportations of migrants by U.S. government agencies in Los Angeles, California." I'm going to take a few more comments about the Elon Musk's DOGE stories. But I feel like you're going to hear more about these stories this week. Started being reported a lot this weekend. Oh, speaking of which, so we talked to you about, reports that, like you see, Musk's team has been given access to a U.S. government payment system. USAID staff ousted after Trump administration dismantles aid agency. Well, it's this here. Hold on. More this headline. USAID security leaders on leave after trying to keep Musk's DOGE from classified info when representatives of DOGE showed up at the USAID building. So there was also reporting about the Department of Education might be a target soon. I saw that today. Where is it here? Sam Stein, who is with MSNBC, reported Department of Education is, per sources, rumored to be the next Elon target. Scope of the purge not known, but fear is a wind down. Executive order is coming. That's literally what Sam Stein reported. He said, Department of Education is, per sources, rumored to be the next Elon target. Scope of the purge is not known, but fear is a wind down. Executive order is coming. Oh, the Wall Street Journal says Brian Schwartz of the Wall Street Journal says that Musk and DOGE had been gaining physical access and office space at the Department of Education. The Wall Street Journal says Elon Musk has been spotted walking into government agencies, including the Education and Treasury departments, and being offered office space for DOGE within those agencies. According to people close to Musk, that is the Department of Government Efficiency. Joaquin Castro, who is a Texas congressman who's a Democrat, he posted yesterday claiming that I think Trump might have said this about the Department of Education before, but he says Trump wants to close the Department of Education and defund public schools. Shutting down USAID sets an illegal, dangerous precedent. If Trump gets away with this, he'll come for American schools next. So are we going to hear about some news about the Department of Education this week? I had noticed this. One of our viewers, Paula Thompson, said the National Park System said they're very worried also. I had not seen that report. CNN is reporting that dozens of employees at the Department of Education were placed on paid administrative leave Friday as part of the this is as part of the Trump administration's larger effort to rid the federal workforce of employees associated with DEI and accessibility efforts. So that's a bit different. We'll have to see if there's some sort of. By the way, in the time since we last checked, Bitcoin is now up to 94,810. I just want to let you know. I mean, it can go up and down very fast. So just want to mention that. Oh, we never even looked at this. I haven't even seen this. We've been talking about some of these stories that have been coming out in the last few days about Elon Musk's Department of Government efficiency, gaining access and making inroads to certain government departments. So this one is Musk aides lock government workers out of computer systems at U.S. agency, sources say. This is from Reuters from today. It says, aides to Elon Musk charged with running the U.S. government human resources agency have locked career civil servants out of computer systems that contain the personal data of millions of federal employees, according to two agency officials. Since taking office 11 days ago, President Trump has embarked on a massive government makeover, firing and sidelining hundreds of civil servants in his first steps towards downsizing the bureaucracy and installing more loyalists. Musk, the billionaire CEO, Tesla CEO and ex-owner, tasked by Trump to slash the size of the 2.2 million strong civilian government workforce, has moved swiftly to install allies at the agency known as the Office of Personnel Management. That is the U.S. government human resources agency. The two officials who spoke to Reuters said some career employees at the Office for Personnel Management have had their email access revoked to some of the department's data systems. Those data systems include a vast database called Enterprise Human Resources Integration, which contains dates of birth, social security numbers, appraisals, home addresses, pay grades, and length of service of government workers, the officials said. One of the officials told Reuters, "We have no visibility into what they are doing with the computer and data systems. That is creating a great concern. There is no oversight. It creates real cybersecurity and hacking implications." Musk, OPM, representatives of the new team, and the White House did not immediately respond to requests for comments. OPM, which is the Government Human Resources Agency, has sent out memos that avoid the normal dry wording of government messages, as it encourages civil servants to consider buyout offers to quit and take a vacation to a dream destination. A professor at University of Michigan said the actions inside OPM raise concerns about congressional oversight at the agency and how Trump and Musk view the federal bureaucracy. This makes it much harder for anyone outside Musk's inner circle at OPM to know what's going on, he said. By the way, a team including current and former employees of Elon Musk assumed command at OPM, the Government Human Resources Agency, on January 20th, the day Trump took office, says Reuters. They have moved sofa beds onto the 5th floor of the agency's headquarters, which contains the director's office and can only be accessed with a security badge or a security escort. The sofa beds have been installed so the team can work around the clock, an employee of the OPM said. It feels like a hostile takeover, the employee said. The moves by Musk's aides at OPM and upheaval inside the Treasury building caused by other Musk aides that was reported on Friday underscore the sweeping influence Musk is having across the government, says Reuters. David Lebrick, the top-ranking U.S. Treasury Department official, is set to leave his post following a clash with allies of Musk after they asked for access to payment systems, the Washington Post reported on Friday. Okay, so again, I don't intend to read so much, but a lot of this reporting is kind of new the last few days, and I just wanted to get it out there what these various reports are saying. Bassist Music says people who want to get things done. Jim Leahy says time to clean house. Turbo Button says WTF are they doing around the clock? Rick Speziali says, can Trump pull the plug on tariffs at the last second? He could. He could say we have a deal. We'll have to see what happens. Only 26 and a half hours basically until the tariffs take effect. Billy Joe says Republicans are all too happy to give everything to billionaires. Hey guys, people keep bringing it up. I do not have live footage of the LA protests. Even if I did, I don't know that I'd cover it, but I don't have live footage of it. I can't just steal stuff from the web. I do not have any access to footage from LA protests that I can show. By the way, thank you to PZ Papa Zulu for the gift memberships. Thanks to Levi Hild. Levi says, access doesn't mean action from DOGE. Aren't they just reviewing budgets? I don't know what the DOGE people are doing at these various government organizations. It's a good question. I do not know. The reporting I've read you does not say they're doing X, Y, or Z. Generally. Thanks, Marnie, for the gift membership. Thanks to Joel Dulka. Have I seen any of the alt National Park Service social media accounts? No, I have not. I don't know what those are. I think maybe I saw 1 month ago. Oh, like on Facebook, there's an account called Alt National Park Service, which is they say they're the official resistance team of U.S. National Park Service. I'm not really familiar with that. There's an article from 2017 from NPR that says, rogue national park accounts emerge on Twitter amid social media gag orders. I'm not going to go into that right now, but maybe I'll check them out later. Thank you, Joel Dulka. I appreciate the heads up. But are they talking about like supposedly things that are going on now? Maybe that's why Joel brought it up. I don't know if these are people from the National Park Service or not. They seem to not be fans of the Trump administration and Elon Musk, scrolling through the Facebook page. There's a Facebook page with 2.8 million followers that says Alt National Park Service, the official resistance team of U.S. National Park Service. Again, I don't know who controls the account. Thank you, Clean937 Samuel. I appreciate it, from Canada. Thank you, Grevin Sher. Grevin Sher believes that most agencies are complying with all directives, makes me suspicious of the ones acting like they have a different president. Thank you, Jules, our member. Thank you, Rexy Rabbit. Rexy Rabbit says, USAID was created by JFK's EQ, not Congress. I don't think it's that simple. I don't think it's that simple. Let me try to get you an explanation of this. So this is a letter to Secretary Rubio from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 senators. I think they're all Democrats. This is from today. And it says, Congress established USAID as an independent agency separate from the Department of State to ensure we can deploy development expertise and U.S. foreign assistance quickly, particularly in times of crisis, to meet our national security goals. For this reason, any effort to merge or fold USAID into the Department of State should be, and by law must be, previewed, discussed, and approved by Congress. Congress has also made clear that any attempt to reorganize or redesign USAID requires advanced consultation with and notification to Congress. Now, I'm not a legal expert about the history of USAID or generally, but you do have this letter from today from 10 senators that do say Congress established the USAID as an independent agency, separate from the Department of State. And for this reason, any effort to merge or fold USAID into the Department of State should be, and by law must be, previewed, discussed, and approved by Congress. Thank you, by the way, to Jim. Jim thinks Canada doing targeted tariffs is a lobbyist dream. Thank you, Bobby C., who says drug addicts getting clean always feel worse before they get better. Yeah, again, I do not have access to like helicopter cams of people protesting in Los Angeles. April Coco says, how in the world is a South African billionaire controlling the U.S. government? This is insanity. Evie Shore says, with his money. Oh, hold on a moment here. Hold on a moment. We should go back to tariffs for a second. So we talked about how Bitcoin has been down the last couple days. I showed you an article from Reuters that said crypto has gone down over tariff worries. And I did just notice that Ethereum, which is Ethereum the second biggest cryptocurrency? Am I right about this? Ethereum is way down recently. It is down, well, looks like it says 21.54%, I think, in a day. It had gotten down all the way to, I guess, whatever this is, 21 something. Now it's at 24.74. This is the Yahoo Finance chart, and it's a one-day chart. So you can see earlier today, in the last 24 hours, it was up over 3,000. Now, there might be some other reason it's down and then it went back up. I don't know. I'm not an expert on this. But there was a report from Reuters that said that crypto had dropped due to concerns over the tariffs and people wanting to leave risky assets. I'm not a market expert, so I can't say myself. Bitcoin slides below $100,000 as tariffs rattle markets. Okay, so something to keep an eye on, the markets tomorrow. will these tariffs actually go into effect? Will these tariffs go into effect? I'm going to ask you guys that. We're going to do a poll question right now. So remember, these tariffs go into effect in 26 hours and 23 minutes and 24 seconds. But Trump could come out and say, I've reached a deal. China and Mexico and Canada have offered concessions, so we're not going to have the tariffs for now. That could happen. So we'll have to see whether they do go into effect. But what I want to do is, what is going on with this? Give me a second here. I want to post this poll. All right, poll coming up. Will the tariffs go into effect Tuesday as planned? Yes or no? All right, I put it up there on YouTube. I'm posting it on Twitch. By the way, thanks to Namaxwe. Namaxwe says, how do you pay the tariffs? The importers pay the tariff. It's something called the importer of record. They pay them to the federal government. Everything imported, I believe, all goods imported from Mexico and Canada will have a tariff, but the energy from Canada will be 10%, everything else will be 25%, and 10% on all goods from China. In terms of like the specifics as to what the actual entity is that is the one considered the importer, that I don't know. Who do they write their check to? That I do not know. Fair question. I don't know the specifics on that. But they're paying it to the federal government. Maybe, I don't know if it's Department of Customs or what is it. I don't know. Thanks to Maxwe, by the way. Thanks to Vice X on Twitch. And hold on a second. Thank you, Who Shot JR and Notorious Rob on Twitch. And hold on a moment. Oh, I was posting a poll. Sorry, I got distracted. Let me just post the poll on Facebook too. And then I'll let you guys see the poll results. Again, the poll is, will the tariffs go into effect Tuesday at 12:01 a.m. as planned? Or will there be some kind of deal? Okay, so we got to talk about the FBI a little bit too. That's a whole other thing. That's a whole other thing to talk about. All right, YouTube, the current vote on YouTube. I said, will these actually go into effect? Or will there be some kind of deal? On YouTube, 80% of you think they are going to go into effect. We will have live countdown coverage tomorrow, by the way, if there's no deal. We will be covering this tomorrow. 80% of you say on YouTube that they will go into effect as planned. Then on Twitch, let's see. 84% on Twitch say they will go into effect as planned. April Coco says, I'm looking into creating a meme coin to sell to gullible people during these hard times if anyone is interested. Oh, what's going on with the Trump meme coin? I haven't even checked the price of that in a few hours. Yeah, that's gone down a bit too. It's now down to 1784. I don't know why. I can't tell you why that goes up and down. Here. This is from that's from Yahoo Finance. This is this meme coin that Trump announced right before he was inaugurated, where I believe he and organizations associated with him own, I think, 80% of it. You can see when it came out, oops, where is it here? Why is the chart not working really there? Anyways, when it first came out, I think it went out really quick, like within a day or two, to above 70. And it's been lately kind of gradually going down. But I don't know if that's related to the tariffs or not. All right, so 83% of you on Twitch said tariffs will go into effect Tuesday as planned. And 81% on YouTube said they would go into effect. So most of you think they're going to actually go into effect. And we're not going to have some last minute deal. By the way, here's a little background. Trump, $Trump, is a meme coin associated with U.S. President Trump. 1 billion coins were originally created. 800 million, 80%, remain owned by 2 Trump-owned companies. You can read about that on Wikipedia. By the way, we didn't talk about this. Something else to keep on your radar for this week, possible FBI firings, okay? There's been reporting that possibly mass firings are going to happen at the FBI of people, agents who were involved in investigating January 6th cases. So, Reuters says FBI employees were ordered yesterday to answer a detailed list of questions about any work they may have done on criminal cases related to the January 6th, 2021 attack on the Capitol by supporters of President Trump, stoking fear among staff about a fresh round of firings at the FBI. Chad Yarborough, the assistant director of the Criminal Investigative Division at the FBI headquarters, wrote in an email, "I know myself and others receiving this questionnaire have a lot of questions and concerns which I am working hard to get answers to. The list of questions in the memo that FBI employees were sent direct employees to give their job title, any role they played in the January 6 investigations, and whether they helped supervise such investigations. Yarborough told employees the answers are due by 3 p.m. Eastern Time on Monday." Oh, wait, I'm confused about today is Sunday. I was thinking today is Monday. My clock is off. Today is Sunday. So this was today. FBI employees were ordered today to do this. Today. And the questionnaires are due tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. On Friday, the acting Attorney General fired 8 senior FBI officials from agency headquarters, as well as the heads of the Miami and Washington field offices. Another memo written by the acting Deputy Attorney General on Friday demanded that the FBI by Tuesday at noon turn over to him a list of every employee who worked on January 6 cases, as well as a list of employees who worked on a criminal case filed last year against leaders of the militant Hamas group in a connection with the Gaza war. Last week, Bove fired more than a dozen career Justice Department prosecutors who worked on the 2 now dismissed criminal cases brought by Special Counsel Jack Smith against Trump. Democrats and other critics have said the Trump team is carrying out a purge of FBI and Justice Department officials who played roles in the criminal cases against Trump in the January 6 rioters. Some employees on Friday started to clear out their desks amid concerns they might be next, according to the FBI Agents Association email seen by Reuters. And who is this? There was an email quoted here by, the assistant FBI director in charge of the New York office said in an email on Friday, "Today we find ourselves in the middle of a battle of our own, as good people are being walked out of the FBI and others are being targeted because they did their jobs in accordance with the law and FBI policy. So, are we going to see mass firings soon at the FBI?" Sharice says Kash is doing what we elected his boss to do. So Kash Patel is not the FBI director yet. He has not been confirmed. He could be confirmed at some point soon, but he's not yet. Some viewers say good. Dennis Britt says good. Good for whom? There is so much going on. AP reports similarly, FBI employees questioned about involvement in January 6 cases as Justice Department weighs firings. Thousands of FBI employees who participated in investigations related to January 6 riot at the Capitol are being asked to complete in-depth questionnaires about their involvement in the inquiries. Thousands. The survey is in keeping with an extraordinary Justice Department directive Friday for the names, titles, and offices of all FBI employees who worked on investigations related to January 6th. The AP says the scrutiny of career agents is highly unusual given that rank-and-file FBI agents do not select the cases they are assigned to work on, do not historically switch positions or receive any sort of discipline because of their participation in politically sensitive cases, and especially because there's been no evidence any FBI agents or lawyers who investigated or prosecuted the cases engaged in misconduct. Some 4,000 agents, analysts, and other employees at the FBI are believed to have been sent the questionnaires. In a memo to its own employees, the FBI Agents Association said, We understand this feels like agents and employees are being targeted despite repeated assurances that all FBI employees will be protected against political retribution. The FBI Agents Association said employees carrying out their duties to investigate allegations of criminal activity with integrity and within the rule of law should never be treated as those who have engaged in actual misconduct. What is going to happen with the FBI? Oh my gosh, there's so much going on. One of our viewers said lawsuits incoming. You think if like they get fired, some could file a lawsuit? Deadeye thinks they are being targeted. Guys, maybe I have to put something on the screen. For the third time in like 20 minutes, I don't have any footage of the LA protests that I can show you. I don't know what you want me to do. Every 7 seconds, somebody asks about it in the chat. What do you want me to do? I don't have footage of it. What would you like me to do? We discussed it. I showed you a couple photos. I posted about it on my Twitter account. I'm going to start timing people out. I have to just start timing people out. People in the chat are trying to discuss this. Now, we haven't even discussed Panama yet. By the way, thanks to Dances with Wolves, our member. Malta McMurchie, thank you from Canada. Malta McMurchie, thanks you. Alex Beasy. Alex Beasy says, Trey Parker, Matt Stone started this. Blame Canada. Thank you, Cat Hoarder. Thanks, Cat Hoarder, for your support. By the way, if you have a question about the modding, I would encourage you to message the mods directly. They're happy to talk to you about it. Don't message them in the chat. They can give you an email address or a link you can use to message them, but they are the ones to ask about the modding. Thank you also, Rita. Rita thinks Trump, based on Trump's post this AM, he is trying to bully Canada. It's disingenuous to make it about tariffs and then tie it to the conquest of the country into the U.S. That's imperialism and not cool. What Rita is talking about is the post we showed you earlier from Trump's Truth Social. From this morning, where he said, I have to scroll back. Trump this morning on his Truth Social said, we pay hundreds of billions of dollars to subsidize Canada. Why? There is no reason. We don't need anything they have. We have unlimited energy. We should make our own cars and have more lumber than we can ever use. Without this massive subsidy, Canada ceases to exist as a viable country. Harsh but true. Therefore, Canada should become our cherished 51st state. Much lower taxes and far better military protection for the people of Canada and no tariffs. Thank you, Robin. I appreciate it, Robin. Thanks for your support. And also Bean Juice Bond. Thank you. And TPAC 5000. TPAC 5000 is not a fan of the Department of Education. Says, send it back to the states and families. Thank you, TPAC. Clean 937, thanks you. Clean 937 from Canada says, we should be friends, Canada and the U.S. What will the results of all of this be? We're early in the Trump administration. Is he going to fire a lot of people and reorganize these government agencies? Will these changes help or hurt? How about these tariffs? What's going to happen with these? I can't tell you. Just seems like he wants to change a lot of things. Distant Galaxy says, you have to remind us it's only been 2 weeks. Are there going to be thousands of firings at the FBI? And with Kash Patel as FBI director, will it operate differently than it has been in the past? I don't know. Don't know. I feel like we haven't talked enough about tariffs. I want to talk a little bit more about tariffs. It's a big story, guys. Hey, look. Hold on. I'll show you something here. Here are some of the goods in the crosshairs of Trump's tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China. Remember, these tariffs go into effect in 26 hours and 1 minute and 45 seconds and include 25% on all goods from Mexico, 25% on everything but energy from Canada, 10% on energy from Canada, and an additional 10% on all goods from China, some of which have tariffs on them already, I believe, if not all of them. Following are just a few of the imported goods whose prices may be hit first. A grenade lobbed into auto production, says AP. For decades, auto companies have built supply chains that cross the borders of the US, Mexico, and Canada. More than 1 in 5 of the cars and light trucks sold in the US were built in Canada or Mexico. Okay? Also, for example, the engines in Ford F-Series pickups and the iconic Mustang Sports Coupe, for example, come from Canada. This expert said you have engines and car seats and other things that cross the border multiple times before going into a finished vehicle. You have American parts going to Mexico to be put into vehicles that are then shipped back to the US. You throw 25% tariffs into all that, and it's just a grenade. China is also a major supplier of auto parts to the US. TD Economics notes the average US car price could rise by around $3,000. Higher prices at the pump. Canada is by far America's biggest foreign supplier of crude oil. For many U.S. refineries, there's not much choice. Canada produces the type of crude oil that American refineries are geared to process, said this expert. It's a heavier crude. All of the fracking and all the oil and gas that we make here in the U.S., or most of it, is a lighter crude that a lot of American refineries don't process, particularly in the Midwest. This expert says that there will be higher gas prices, particularly in the Midwest. TD Economics figures that Trump's tariffs could push U.S. gasoline prices up by 30 to 70 cents a gallon. Computers, clothes, and toys. Tariffs on China could impact a wide variety of consumer goods that Americans depend on. Cell phones, computers, and other electronic devices were among the top imports from China last year. Also, I think something like 80% of toys in the U.S. bought come from China, I think. Also, clothing from China, footwear. Also, they talk about foreign liquor like tequila or Canadian whiskey. Tequila and Canadian whiskey, like Kentucky bourbon, are designated as distinctive products that can only be made in their country of origin. Also, avocados. We talked about this. Expensive avocados. Avocados, which are going to be in demand around the Super Bowl. Look. Where does it say it here? Expensive avocados just in time for Super Bowl. Yes. Almost all of the avocados sold in the U.S., 90% come from Mexico. You're talking about guacamole tariffs right before the Super Bowl. Wrath of Hong says no one drinks Canadian whiskey. Then also the Washington Post had something about this. Look, Washington Post. Here's what could get more expensive with Trump's new tariffs. Cell phones, clothes, and household goods. China's the main source of imported consumer goods. That means electronics like cell phones, clothing like cotton shirts or shoes, and children's toys could be subject to higher tariffs. The Consumer Technology Association, modeling an earlier tariff proposal from Trump, said smartphones could cost about $213 more. The Best Buy CEO said there's very little in the consumer electronics space that is not imported. Companies making everything from shoes to hardware have already said they plan to pass the cost of higher taxes on to consumers. Produce, beer, and juice. The grocery aisle. This food economist at Michigan State University said the proposed tariffs would have a significant impact on food prices. The majority of America's avocado supply comes from Mexico, as well as a sizable amount of tequila and most of the imported beer Americans drink. Also, Mexican beer is often made with barley, for example, with U.S. products like barley from Idaho or Montana. It would not be easy to quickly replicate the food supply domestically. Fruit trees, for example, take years to mature. Labor costs are often higher in the U.S., and drought and weather could hinder growing. Also, vehicles and car parts. More than half of goods classified as automotive vehicles, parts, and engines come from Canada and Mexico. Also, Canada was the main exporter of industrial supplies to the U.S., including building supplies, oil and metal materials used to manufacture other products. Oil and metal materials used to manufacture other products. Now, this expert says the proposed tariffs will make it more attractive to manufacture and assemble cars in the U.S. He expects car companies might have to readjust their strategy, perhaps making versions of cars with fewer bells and whistles to keep costs under control. Anyways, that's just an example of some of the things that could rise in price. Wildwood says avocado withdrawals. G. Fixler, our viewer, says, I love the people saying just build things here, like it doesn't take a decade to get a plant up and running, set up supply chains, hire and train people, etc. Vivian Lund says, newsflash, all these things used to be made here and will be made here again. Trolling says, sometimes you want to watch the world burn. Don Coe thinks the president's agenda is falling in line with art of war principles. Ruth says that she didn't vote for Trump, Ruth Henson, and she can't feed her family now. What about lumber? Yeah, the articles didn't mention lumber. I don't know if I can quickly find something on lumber. Hold on a moment here. Oh, I might have a couple things here. Oh, didn't Canada mention it? Hold on. Where is it here? Where is it? Where is it? Why can't I find it here? This is an article about what Canada announced, their retaliatory tariffs. Canada's leader, Trudeau, Prime Minister, said tariffs they would respond to 25% with 25% tariffs on $107 billion US of US goods. Some of those will take effect Tuesday. The Canadian leader said tariffs would include American beer, wine, and bourbon, as well as fruits and fruit juices, including orange juice from Trump's home state of Florida. Canada would also target goods including clothing, sports equipment, and household appliances. But that's about Canada's tariffs on the U.S. Where is the... hang on. What's this? How about in here? Here. Well, Prime Minister Trudeau encouraged Canadians on Sunday to boycott their longtime ally after ordering retaliatory tariffs against $155 billion of U.S. goods, from peanut butter, beer, and wine to lumber and appliances. Well, obviously, lumber comes in from Canada will get tariffed like everything else. I'd like to know more about Canadian lumber and tariffs. Ooh, hold on a second here. Look, this is from the National Association of Home Builders. This is from yesterday, the National Association of Home Builders. Let me see if I can tell you something about NAHB. They're a United States organization, National Association of Home Builders. And Wikipedia says they are one of the largest trade organizations in the United States. And they have 140,000 members. Each year, National Association of Home Builders members build approximately 80% of the new homes constructed in the U.S. So this is basically the trade association for home builders, the big one in the U.S. Look what they had to say, the National Association of Home Builders. Let me show you what they had to say here. 25% tariff hike on Canadian and Mexican goods harms housing affordability. They do mention lumber in here. The chairman of the National Association of Home Builders, who's also a custom home builder from Wichita, Kansas, issued the following statement after President Trump announced an across-the-board tariff of 25% on Canadian and Mexican goods coming into the U.S. The National Association of Home Builders chairman said, on President Trump's first day in office, he issued an executive order directing departments and agencies to deliver emergency price relief by pursuing actions to lower the cost of housing and increase housing supply. This move to raise tariffs by 25% on Canadian and Mexican goods will have the opposite effect. More than 70% of the imports of two essential materials that American home builders rely on, softwood lumber and gypsum used for drywall, come from Canada and Mexico, respectively. So the softwood lumber comes from Canada. The gypsum used for drywall comes from Mexico. They are two essential materials that home builders rely on, and more than 70% of it comes from those two countries. Tariffs on lumber and other building materials increase the cost of construction and discourage new development, and consumers end up paying for the tariffs in the form of higher home prices. NAHB urges the administration to reconsider this action on tariffs, and we will continue to work with policymakers to eliminate barriers that make housing more costly and prevent builders from boosting housing production. So, again, this is not like the Democratic National Committee. This is the National Association of Home Builders, whose members build around 80% of new homes, according to Wikipedia, in the U.S. Okay, so anyways, it's interesting to see this. You can go to National Association of Home Builders website and see it for yourself. Am I going to listen to Elon's X Space about Doge at midnight? Maybe after this I'll check some of it out, or I'll listen to a recording of it after. I'm not going to play it on here. Andrew Richardson says, all of this doom and gloom, total fear porn. Don Londuck says, the whole idea is to make it in America. We can make drywall and we have loads of lumber. We export more than we domestically use in lumber. I don't know if the gypsum and the softwood lumber they mentioned, I don't know if those can quickly be ramped up in the U.S. I don't know enough about it. I would think it would take a little time, even if it was possible, it would take time. Also, you'd have to allot resources to doing that you're currently using for something else. But maybe it's possible. I do not know. Softwood lumber, I mean, obviously you can't just create lumber out of scratch. You'd have to plant trees. Wickedest Witch says, no, they cannot be ramped up. Snowkeeper says, we'll be fine and Trump knows what he's doing. James T says, you have to grow it. Let me see if I have any updates here. We didn't even talk about the whole Panama thing. It's a whole other thing. Crumble says, short-term pain for long-term gain. Watching the crumble says, as a major supplier of power to the U.S., imagine silly old Canada hitting that switch right before the Super Bowl starts. So first of all, I don't know that the specifics on that. But second of all, even if that were possible, I don't think it's going to happen. About suddenly shutting off power without saying anything. But I don't know if that's possible the way you describe it. I do not know. By the way, thanks so much to Van Dan. Van Dan says, I just checked my AFTV shirts. They say Nicaragua, so we're cool for now. They're available on different sites, so I can't say where they are, where they're made on the different sites. But whatever one you have yours from, Van Dan, those should be okay, I guess. Hey, thank you, Van Dan. That's very generous of you. I really appreciate that. That's really kind of you, Van Dan. Also, Ever Malpica, who thinks prices and inflation are going to go through the roof with the tariffs. Thank you, Layla. Layla says, if tariffs hurt Americans, why would Canada and Mexico hurt their citizens by adding them as retaliation? So I think the theory, if you're America or Mexico, if you're Canada or Mexico, your theory is you put tariffs on because you're hoping that by causing suffering to American consumers, there will be increased political pressure on Trump to stop the tariffs. I think that would be the hope. Also, maybe there's a thing where you don't want to look weak, but I also think the idea is to, put political pressure on the Trump administration. Thanks to our new member, Katie Beetzel. Beetzel, I think it is. Thanks, Dances with Wolves, our member. Thanks, Larry Picklejar, who says the base now has to pay an extra 25% to roll coal. Thanks, Larry Picklejar. Thanks, Carbon Forms, for subscribing over there on Twitch, and Device X for subscribing. By the way, just to give you an update on the Panama situation. Did Rubio post about this tonight? No, not the last few hours. So Rubio, hang on, let me just do this. Secretary of State Rubio was in Panama today. Rubio tells Panama to end China's influence of canal or face U.S. action. That is a picture of Rubio and Panama's foreign minister. The picture will load from today, from Reuters. I could get you the full one, but I'm not going to bother getting that picture right now. Anyways, Secretary of State Rubio on Sunday warned Panama's president that Washington will take measures necessary if Panama does not immediately take steps to end what President Trump sees as China's influence and control over the Panama Canal, says Reuters. After the talks with Rubio, the president of Panama signaled he would review agreements involving China and Chinese businesses and announced further cooperation with the U.S. on migration, but reiterated that his country's sovereignty, his country's control over the world's second busiest waterway is not up for discussion. Rubio delivered a message from Trump that China's presence through a Hong Kong-based company operating 2 ports near the canal's entrances was a threat to the waterway and a violation of the U.S.-Panama Treaty, said the U.S. State Department. Rubio did not spell out exactly what steps Panama must take or what U.S. retaliation would look like. Upon returning to office, Trump has threatened to take control of the Panama Canal, built by the United States in the early 20th century and handed over to Panama in 1999. Claiming the canal is being operated by Beijing. Trump has refused to rule out the use of military force over Panama. On Sunday, Trump said he did not think troops would be necessary, but that Panama had violated the agreement and that the U.S. would take back the canal. Trump told reporters today, China's running the Panama Canal. That was not given to China. That was given to Panama foolishly, but they violated the agreement, and we're going to take it back or something very powerful is going to happen. Then he said, I don't think troops will be necessary in Panama, Trump said. Rubio said that China could use the ports to shut down the canal, a vital route for shipping, in U.S. shipping, in the event of a conflict between Beijing and Washington. By the way, a little background here. The president of Panama showed willingness to review some Chinese businesses in Panama, including a key 25-year concession to a Hong Kong-based company, renewed in 2021 for the operation of ports at both entrances of the canal. That contract has been targeted by U.S. lawmakers and the government as an example of China's expansion in Panama, which they claim goes against a neutrality treaty signed by both countries in 1977. Panama's government and some experts reject that assertion, mainly because the ports are not part of the canal's operations. The canal is operated by the Panama Canal Authority, an autonomous agency overseen by the Panamanian government. China has said it plays no part in operating the canal and that it respects Panama's sovereignty and independence over the waterway. A Chinese foreign ministry spokesman last month said never ever has China interfered and said China recognizes the canal as a permanently neutral international waterway. Rubio is currently touring Central America and the Caribbean on his first trip as Secretary of State. But he was in Panama today. Oh, Marco Rubio tours the Panama Canal. Here's Rubio at the Panama Canal. Right? I'll show you this picture. I'll get a bigger shot of this picture. Hold on. I'll show it to you. Where'd it go? Here is Marco Rubio at the Panama Canal. From today. Raina says, so we don't know how their meeting went today? No, we talked about it. Oh, by the way, Marco Rubio said today, I met with the Panamanian president and foreign minister to make clear today that the United States cannot and will not allow the Chinese Communist Party to continue with its effective and growing control over the Panama Canal area. We also discussed efforts to end the hemisphere's mass migration crisis and ensure fair competition for U.S. firms. So I haven't heard that anything bad happened during their meeting. And I gave you that quote from the Panamanian Reuters report about what the Panamanian president said. Panamanian president said, where is it here? We just talked about it. Said he signaled after the meeting with Rubio that he would review agreements involving China and Chinese businesses and announced further cooperation with the U.S. on migration, but reiterated that his country's sovereignty over the world's second busiest waterway is not up for discussion. Thank you, Mr. Rotten Scurvy Dog, for watching, by the way. Miss Annie says a lot of Americans died building the Panama Canal. R.A. Clark says China says a lot but acts the opposite. Will something big happen with the Panama Canal during Trump's term? Will something big happen with Greenland during Trump's term? That I do not know. Thank you, by the way, Summer Sunrise, for watching. Thanks to Cheryl Cozier from Canada for your support. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Thanks, Tommy Zinneman, our new member. Thanks, Alex BZ. Alex says diplomacy is a thing. If Trump is so disrespectful, he outrages nations, and no leader can work with him or their people will vote them out of office. Megan says, so Panama said China isn't doing anything, but the U.S. took it upon themselves to interfere. I can't really say what the degree is of Chinese influence over the Panama Canal. I would have to do some more research on that. Hold on a second here. Yeah, I'm not going to start doing that research on that now. Like what the actual degree of influence of China is on the Panama Canal. It's an interesting question. I don't have the research pre-done on this, and I don't want to try to answer it in 5 seconds. Give me a moment here, though. Graceful Swan says, why the sudden interest in keeping China out of the canal? Follow the money trail. Let's see here. "25.5 hours, guys, until the tariffs take effect. 25.5 hours. Anon again thinks China has nothing to do with canal operations, but a Chinese company is under contract to manage the nearby ports. Oh, guys, I just noticed something. The Mexican president is supposed to announce countermeasures to the U.S. tariffs tonight. Is that true? What time is that supposed to be? Oh, that's during a morning press conference. Is it tomorrow? Maybe that's tomorrow. Mexico City. It says 1500. That must be tomorrow. No, Canada announced it yesterday. Mexico has not announced the specifics. Yes, right here, look. There's going to be a press conference tomorrow at 9 a.m. I guess that maybe is 9 a.m. Mexico City time, which would be 10 a.m. Eastern time. And so AFP is saying that she will announce the response, the measures that are going to be taken, countermeasures, tomorrow morning. Oh, there's this other Trump story. We didn't even talk about South Africa. Oh my gosh, there's so many stories. Guys, so many stories. One of our viewers asked why there was no word from China. China has not announced specific measures, like whether they're going to take like specific, whether they're going to impose new tariffs on U.S. goods. So we'll have to see. This is a whole other thing going on with South Africa we should talk about. Give me a moment here. By the way, thanks so much to our moderators. We have moderating right now. Roberts May Queen is here. Thank you. And Linda Belk, Larry, Misha on X, over on Twitch. Idaho Star, I Got That Fire, McBritches, Sarah, and Surly Dev. Thanks, Wukas, for subscribing on Twitch. And over on Facebook, K. Larry Body, Paul Anderson, thank you. Moderating over there. Did you guys see this Trump post about South Africa? By the way, Elon Musk grew up in South Africa. Oh, Ruth Krafasi is moderating too. Thank you, Ruth. Here is the post about South Africa. If I can pull it up for you here. So Trump said South Africa is confiscating land and treating certain classes of people very badly. It is a bad situation that the radical left media doesn't want to so much as mention. A massive human rights violation at a minimum is happening for all to see. The United States won't stand for it, and we will act. Also, I will be cutting off all future funding to South Africa until a full investigation of this situation has been completed. I got to admit, when I read this, I was like, what's going on? So let me show you something else about that. Give me 1 second. I'm going to show you something else about that right now. Trump accuses South Africa of confiscating land, cuts funding. This is from AFP. President Trump today asserted that South Africa was confiscating land and treating certain classes of people very badly, as he announced he was cutting off all future funding to South Africa pending an investigation. The land issue in South Africa has long been divisive, with efforts to redress the inequality of white rule drawing criticism from conservatives, including Elon Musk, the world's wealthiest person, who was born in South Africa and is a powerful Trump advisor. The South African president last month signed a bill that stipulates that the government may, in certain circumstances, offer no compensation for property it decides to expropriate in the public interest. South Africa is confiscating land and treating certain classes of people very badly, said Trump. I will be cutting off all future funding to South Africa until a full investigation of the situation has been completed. The government argues that the bill does not allow the government to expropriate property arbitrarily and must first seek to reach agreement with the owner. However, some groups fear a situation similar to the Zimbabwe government's seizure of white-owned commercial farms, often without compensation after independence in 1980. Later, in a briefing with journalists, Trump said that South Africa's leadership is doing some terrible things, horrible things, without giving examples. So that's under investigation right now, said Trump. We'll make a determination, and until such time as we find out what South Africa is doing, they're taking away land and confiscating land, and actually they're doing things that are perhaps far worse than that. Let me give you a little background here from AFP. Land ownership is a contentious issue in South Africa, with most farmland still owned by white people 3 decades after the end of apartheid. I think it's pronounced apartheid, by the way. I looked it up with a T at the end, which I didn't know, but I just looked it up and I saw it said apartheid. So I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And really quick, if you're not familiar with it, Well, Don't That Beat All says yes. Apartheid.
Apartheid.
There you go. That's from Wikipedia. Was a system of institutionalized racial segregation that existed in South Africa and Southwest Africa from 1948 to the early 1990s, says Wikipedia. It ensured that South Africa was dominated politically, socially, and economically by the nation's minority white population. Under this system, the white citizens had the highest status, followed by Indians, coloreds, and black Africans in that order. So, just some background on this. So, AFP says that on that land ownership issue, AFP says land ownership is a contentious issue in South Africa, with most farmland still owned by white people 3 decades after the end of apartheid. Since then, land courts have adjudicated on a handful of land disputes and, after exhaustive processes, returned land to previously displaced owners. According to the South African government, the 1913 Natives Land Act saw thousands of black families forcibly removed from their land by the apartheid regime. The delicate issue has been a particular rallying point for the right, with various conservative figures, including Elon Musk and right-wing journalist Katie Hopkins, championing the cause of white landowners. Musk was born in Pretoria, South Africa in 1971 to an engineer father and Canadian-born model mother, leaving the country in his late teens. The formal policy of apartheid lasted until 1990, and multiracial elections were held in 1994. Trump has surrounded himself with powerful Silicon Valley figures who came of age in apartheid Southern Africa, like David Sachs, his newly appointed artificial intelligence and cryptocurrency czar, who co-founded PayPal along with Musk. Billionaire Peter Thiel, another PayPal co-founder who introduced Trump to his vice president J.D. Vance, also lived in Southern Africa, including time in Namibia, which was then controlled by Pretoria. Okay. So that's Trump announcing that today, that he is cutting off all future aid to South Africa. I don't know if he's on record, Trump, being very concerned with this issue publicly. That I don't know. I should ask, hold on, I can probably find out here. I wonder if, like, Perplexity would know. Perplexity AI says in 2018, Trump tweeted about South Africa land and farm seizures and directed Mike Pompeo, Secretary of State, to closely study the situation. At the time, Perplexity says, Trump claimed the South African government is now seizing land from white farmers and expressed concern about the large-scale killing of farmers. And Perplexity AI says Trump's previous statements on this issue were also controversial and drew criticism. The South African government rejected his 2018 tweet. And then Perplexity says his statement today appears to be a continuation of his previous stance on South African land reform. He has once again accused South Africa of confiscating land and announced plans to cut future funding to the country. Let me take some comments from you guys on this. Irradiated Potato says, my take is that Trump is going full steam on isolationism so he can make aggressive moves and sanctions won't hurt as much. Jada Maru says, all he's doing is cutting off money. How much... I'm looking up how much aid U.S. sends South Africa. ChatGPT says the U.S., as of 2023, allocated nearly $500 million in assistance to South Africa. This aid primarily supports health initiatives. But this aid may be at risk, as we've heard, because Trump might cut off the aid to South Africa. I don't understand. So I was just reading this stuff, and I saw a comment that said, is this channel left-wing propaganda? I literally read you Trump's tweet and an article, which seemed to me pretty neutral, this article, talking about the issue and talking about the different sides of the issue. I thought the article did a pretty nice job of explaining the different sides of the issue. And then somebody says, is this left-wing propaganda? I don't know what you expect. What do you expect the channel to be? AFP is left with this, and who cares about the source anyway when I just read you the article? So we'll have to see what happens in the future with the South Africa thing. There's so many stories going on. We've been talking about the tariffs. We've been talking about the Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency gaining access to the Treasury payment system. The controversy over them reportedly trying to gain access to classified information, and some sources say gaining it at USAID. The questionnaires reportedly sent out to thousands of FBI agents and workers, which could be a sign of mass firings in the FBI soon to come. There's all this stuff going on. The stuff with South Africa, stuff with Panama. Oh my gosh. There's all this stuff happening. Jack S. thinks Trump is causing chaos. What is happening to crypto? Is it any different than it was an hour ago? As I mentioned, crypto has, according to Reuters, crypto has been dropping on worries about tariffs. But I don't know if that's the only reason it's been dropping in the last day or so. Maybe there's other reasons. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, this is roughly where it was when we checked it an hour ago. This is Bitcoin here. But it's been dropping. A bunch of it's been dropping today. That is Yahoo Finance. Yeah, Ethereum went down a bunch today. Hang on a moment here. Let's see here. So, by the way, tomorrow night we will be covering that. We're going to be doing tariffs countdown coverage tomorrow night, assuming there's no deal. I mean, there may be, for all I know, tomorrow or tomorrow night, Trump will announce a deal saying there's not going to be any tariffs. We've reached a deal with China and Mexico and Canada, and they've offered concessions. I don't know. We'll have to just see. I'm planning on doing countdown coverage for the tariffs. One of our viewers, Kylo von Olhausen says they're gonna fold. Look, I mean, there's a world in which China, Mexico, and Canada make big concessions. There's also a world in which Trump is just using this as a negotiation and is planning on just making a deal with whatever they offer at the end. I don't know, or maybe he intends on really going through with it. I don't know what's in Trump's head. So we'll have to see what happens. Pensby Lad says Trump will announce a deal, but there aren't any concessions to actually announce. People keep talking about stock futures. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens with that. Also, I mean, I do think the stock market may not have. Maybe some investors think there's going to be a deal. I think if it really gets to Tuesday and there really are tariffs, that could have a different impact on the market than we've seen. According to the CNN site, the Dow futures are down 1.5% and the NASDAQ is down 2.5%. Yes, as Morgan says, it was reported that Trump said today he's going to talk to both Trudeau and Mexico tomorrow. Oh, also, AB Camping mentioned the Canadian dollar. Hang on. Thought I had something on that. If you give me a second here. By the way, this says Asian shares slip as worries grow about Trump tariffs. Japan's stock market lost 2.4% in early trading today. This is updated recently. This is updated a few minutes ago, about 15 minutes ago, from AP in early trading. Australia went down. Australia's benchmark index declined 1.8%. South Korea's went down 2.9%. Hong Kong's went down 1.4%. Analysts said Asian markets were bracing for volatility set off by a possible trade war escalation. I thought I had like an article about the Canadian dollar. Let me see here. Do I or not? Do I or not? Stock slump, dollar soars as Trump tariffs trigger trade war fear. That's from Reuters. The U.S. dollar shot to a record peak against the Chinese yuan in offshore trading and its highest against Canada's currency since 2003 and the strongest against the Mexican peso since 2022. Paul Ashworth of Capital Economics said Trump's move was the first strike in what could usher in a destructive global trade war and drive a surge in U.S. inflation that would come even faster and be larger than we initially expected. A model gauging the economic impact of Trump's tariff plan from EY chief economist Greg Dacko suggests it would reduce U.S. economic growth by 1.5 percentage points this year, throw Canada and Mexico into a recession, and usher in stagflation at home. The U.S. dollar is now at $1 US is $1.4755 Canadian, a level not seen since 2003. Corn Dog says doom and gloom. By the way, thanks Turned Off. Turned Off thinks MAGA hopes that Trump is just posturing. Thank you also, I'll be your mirror for your support and your kind words. Thanks also to Robert Paulson for your support. Thank you, Robert. One of our viewers said, what deal can be trusted when Trump breaks NAFTA? I think you mean the one is the successor to NAFTA, which is the U.S., Mexico, Canada deal. I forget what it's called, which was signed under the first U.S., Mexico, Canada agreement. That was signed in the first Trump term. But I think Trump argues that, or the Trump administration claims that there's a provision in the treaty that you can break it for a national security reason, but others claim that that's not really, it's not really a national security reason. I think I read this somewhere. And so some people believe that, either way, some people believe that this is breaking the treaty to suddenly impose these tariffs. Because the treaty is a free trade treaty. U.S., Mexico, Canada agreement. That was signed by Trump. Ratified by all three countries during the first Trump administration. I forget the part about what the specific out is supposedly for getting out of the treaty. So don't hold me to that. But I think it's something about there being an emergency or national security or something. The Economist might have mentioned that. Did they say it? Can't find it. Anyways. But it basically does away with that treaty. Yes, wickedest witch. Canada, Mexico, and China, I believe, are the U.S.'s three largest trade partners. Naz Kamain says, if we ruin all our relationships, we can just make everything here exactly as intended. Kevin Price says they will fold the art of the deal. Thanks for subscribing, by the way, Kevin. I appreciate that. Kevin also thinks there will be a deal before the tariffs go into effect. That's what Kevin thinks. Kevin thinks if the offer isn't good enough to Trump, he will raise it to 50%. Hey, look, Trump, he can still, the executive orders say that he can raise the amount of tariffs if other countries retaliate. And Mexico and Canada are saying they're going to retaliate. So we'll have to see about that. Jose Rodriguez says eggs and groceries pricing is skyrocketing. All goods and commodities will soon follow. Gas and car prices up. Ace High says this just leads countries to not trust you with agreements. So why bother? Hold up, where is it here? So why bother and may as well deal with countries that stick to their word? Michael K. says, how many parts in a Tesla are made in China or Mexico? That I don't know. I would have to ask and see. I wonder if you ask ChatGPT that, what does it say? I don't know if ChatGPT will know. ChatGPT says it's a challenging question to determine that. They linked to a Barron's article, ChatGPT, which says that, hold on. There's a Barron's article which says Tesla won't escape impact of Trump tariffs. And that article says about 15% of the parts of a Model Y sold in the U.S. come from Mexico, and some come from Canada too, though the amount is hard to pin down. Also, they say roughly 30 to 50% of parts for popular cars made in the U.S. come from outside Canada or the U.S. Thank you, Michael, for writing in. Leonette Tarpley sent me a message from somebody who said the richest man in the world has illegally gained access to our Social Security payments and we're not going to do anything. WTF? Yeah, I mentioned this quote. iRoots sent me a quote from Trump about USAID today, where he claimed that they were radical lunatics. A bunch of radical lunatics. And he said, we're getting them out. If you missed it before, we're not going to go back and cover it again right now, but we talked about the comment about Elon Musk and the Social Security payments. So like we talked about the Social Security information. We talked about some reports like this. Elon Musk's DOGE commission gains access to sensitive Treasury payment systems, AP sources. So we talked about that stuff. You can go back and watch the stream from earlier. We spent a bunch of time on that. I don't want to recover the same ground. I was just trying to read a few of these comments here. Thank you, Black Irish, for watching, by the way. Let's see here. I was just reading some of these comments people were sending in. I can fall behind because I get a lot of comments. MJ says one of President Trump's first executive orders was a temporary 6-month blanket top secret security clearance for whomever he wanted. I remember hearing something about that. I don't know if and how that has been applied. I have no idea. I don't know if I can get something on that really quick. I don't want to really spend a lot of time on it. If I can find something on it quickly. Yeah, the Washington Post mentioned this. Where is it here? Yeah, I know the Washington Post had an article back on January 22nd that said Trump's plan to grant temporary security clearances to anyone he chooses opens the door to breaches and even espionage, experts and former officials say. But I don't really want to get into that right now. It's kind of a little bit off topic. Well, I guess maybe you think that he's given it to... I think maybe MJ thinks that maybe he's given it to some people who work with Elon Musk in DOGE or something, but I'm not sure. I can't really speak to that. All right. Guys, I think we're getting close to that time. You know? I feel like we came to do a certain thing on this stream, to talk about tariffs, to talk about USAID, to talk about DOGE, to talk about some of the other stories that have gone on. And we've talked about a bunch of things, and I think we're getting close to that time. And we're going to be covering tomorrow night the countdown to the tariffs. If there's no deal, I will be on the air. I'll come on early and we'll do the tariff countdown coverage tomorrow night. So we will be covering it. So I hope you can join us tomorrow night. Hang on a second here. Give me one moment. On a second here. Oops. I'm hearing two of myself. But I really appreciate... Oh, yeah, you know, if there's big news during the day, we'll cover that too. If there's big news later tonight, we'll do that too. You know, I'll be here. I can go on the air. So if there's big news during the day, we'll cover that. I really appreciate you guys joining us for our stream tonight. A lot of the stuff we're talking about, it's stuff that could have more developments. We talked about the FBI tonight, possible firings there. So there's all kinds of things that could develop. So hang on a moment here. Yeah, and again, I said it like 10 times. I said it like 10 times. I don't have footage of protests in LA. I don't know what you want me to do. What do you want me to do? There's no footage. I don't have footage I can show you. Would you like me to come on the air and sit here for 2 hours and say, hey guys, there's a protest going on in LA. Guys, there's a protest going on in LA. This just in, there's a protest going on in LA. Oh, guess what? There's a protest. It's still going on like it was going on 5 seconds ago. No, we're not doing that. So we're not doing that. I don't have footage I can show you. There's we are not the protest channel. We don't cover every protest that goes on. So no. Anyways, but I really appreciate you guys tuning in, and we will come back on the air if there is big news, and we will be here tomorrow night to cover news. Hey, subscribe and follow Agenda Free TV. We cover all kinds of live breaking news here without an agenda. Agenda Free TV. And I will post updates on my X account when we're not on the air with about various stories at Lookner on X. You can follow me at Lookner on X for live news updates. And also, what was I going to say? Turn on notifications. We have a notification system set up so you can find out when we're going live, because it can really be at any time depending on when the breaking news happens. I can't tell you in advance. So sign up for the free notifications. They work awesome. Sign up. The mods will post the link to the notifications in the chat. You can also find the link in the description of this video on Facebook and YouTube. But sign up for the notifications. Thanks so much to our moderators for being here. I really appreciate our moderators being here. That's how we can even have chat rooms. We couldn't have chats otherwise. Thank you so much. Ruth Kafasi, Roberts Mayqueen over there on YouTube, and all of our other YouTube moderators. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Linda Belk, Larry, Misha on X, on Twitch. I got that fire, Sarah, Surly Dev. Thank you. On Facebook, K. Larry Body, Paul Anderson. All of our moderators. Really appreciate it. Thank you, moderators. Thanks to everybody who donated too. So nice of you. MB, thanks for your support, MB. MB says Canada has not won a Stanley Cup since 1993 and has never won a Super Bowl. Well, they don't have a team, do they? Does Canada have a team? Off the top of my head, no, right? There's teams in other sports. Am I being an idiot and forgetting about a Canada NFL team? I don't think so. Thanks, MB. Thanks, Turned Off. And thanks, everybody. Thanks to everybody who donated. That's super nice of you. That is how this channel stays on the air, is your support. So I really appreciate it. If you ever want to donate, you can go to agendafree.tv, agendafree.tv. But thank you. Thank you, Cherry on Ken, for subscribing over there on Twitch. And Daredevil 2300, who says, we will see hard times, but needed to get to the good times again. Yeah, there could be big news on like the USAID stuff this week and the FBI stuff and the Treasury stuff and all that. So we'll keep in the DOGE stuff. But the tariffs we'll be covering tomorrow night. We have a chat. You can chat with other viewers when we're not on the air. Check out our free chat. It's on Discord. A lot of our viewers like doing it. Same link as the notifications. So check out the chat. And also a reminder to those of you who watch on YouTube. I would recommend turning on the YouTube notifications. How do you do that? Well, if you're watching on YouTube, what you need to do is, after you subscribe, you just click this bell here and you choose all notifications. So if you do subscribe on YouTube, make sure you got that bell checked and you have chosen all. Also, if you feel like it, follow Agenda Free TV on X, because that's another place. I post there whenever we're going live. You can find out when we're going live. I post updates about the channel sometimes. Agenda Free TV on X, at Agenda Free TV. Yeah, one of our viewers on Twitch, on X, mentioned this, that Elon will be having a Spaces tonight at midnight about DOGE. I saw that, I think, announced earlier, if that's the right time. So feel free to go listen to that if you'd like. Assuming that's still happening at that time. I think that's the time I heard, but I'm not positive. Don't hold me to it. Hey, thanks to all of our Facebook subscribers like LT and Robert Real II, Kay Lowry Body, Eve Richards, Lou Green, Kevin Price. Thanks so much for subscribing over there and supporting the channel on Facebook. Thank you. And also on on Twitch, our subscribers over there. Thanks so much. Annie Cush, Tough Cookie, Billy Joe, Wall Street and Shaggy, Integrity Farmer Bob, Rad Singer Matthew Kohai 3, Rocky Coast, Sketty Sandwich, Barn Isle 42 Meh, Factory Rejects, Allistic, thank you for subscribing, and all of our other subscribers there, and our YouTube members. Mike says tear gas is being used in LA right now. Again, I think some people think this is the protest. This happens when there are protests sometimes. I don't cover every protest. Again, first of all, I don't have footage, but second of all, I mean, there's a bunch of protests that do happen. I mean, so if we're gonna cover it on this channel, like there's got to be some kind of bigger news aspect to it. We don't cover every single protest. So I think some people think we do. There's plenty of channels that do that kind of thing. So I don't want people to be disappointed in the channel because we're not covering something that we don't normally cover. Thanks to all of our YouTube members. Joel PM, Heather N, Brian Tampa, Captain Jerry Donnelly, Eric Johnson, Crypto King, Quentin from Astoria, Heather N, Evelyn V, B. Earhart, Gen X Racer OG, Serenity, Turned Off. Thanks for being members. Silver Shadow, UV Lightning, Joe Hart, Gen X Racer, Patrick Barnett, Sea Chase, Songbird, Wickedest Witch, Captain Jerry Donnelly, Mystical Wolf, Fred E, Lethal Old Fart, Samurai Conscious, Yvonne McMillan, Silver Shadow, Danny G, Chris N, Beam Me Up, Jomo, Mama 4 Rose, CAC 813, Festy Graham, all of our YouTube members, thank you. Patrick Barnett, Omega Survival, Eric Daiquiri, Bo F2, thank you. Thanks everybody else for watching. Aaron Coe, thank you. Zero Moose, thanks for watching on Twitch. John Deeds. Telgar says, we in Canada have an NFL Rejects League. Thanks, Dennis Britt, for watching. Tina Cretes, thank you for watching. Audrey Burbank. Sharon Klassen Goslin, our subscriber over there. Thanks for watching. We're really wrapping this up. We're wrapping it up. All right, guys, that is it for now. We will have live coverage of live countdown coverage of the tariffs deadline. Look, 24 hours, 42 minutes till the tariffs go into effect. We will have live coverage tomorrow night of that. I hope you can join us. And we will cover other news as the news warrants. So that is it for now. Thank you so much for our live coverage, and we will see you soon with more live breaking news coverage right here at Agenda Free TV.